Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jesus is Changing My Life podcast. This is a space where everyday people will share their stories about how Jesus is changing their life. We hope you enjoy this episode, and we hope it encourages you to tell others about the God who is changing your life as well. Hey, everyone, welcome back to the Jesus is Changing My Life podcast for another episode. I have the honor and pleasure to sit with my friend Mark Kaufman, who I get to work with every day here at Connection Point Church. And so, Mark, I would just love to hear about what Jesus is doing in your life and how things are going. How are you, first of all, just as a person? How are you doing today?
Doing great. Feeling good. Love Jesus.
That's awesome.
Life is good.
Good. Hey, so what we want to do is we just want to have two conversations. The first is I would love to hear the story, a brief version of the story as people are traveling and listening to this podcast, a brief version of the story of when you said yes to Jesus and you know, the day Jesus changed your life. And then secondarily, when we get to it, I want to have another conversation about, because not only has Jesus changed your life, he is changing your life. And both of those stories matter. So could you just kind of fill us in on your story?
Sure. So I grew up Jewish, didn't have a real good faith relationship or faith life anyway. Growing up Jewish in Sydney, Ohio is not the most conducive place to expressing your Judaism. So as I like to say, we weren't very good Jews, but continued to grow, went away to college, came back, and I got married, and got married for all the wrong reasons. Long story short, went through a divorce, and I felt at that time that something was missing from my life. And I had some friends who helped me see that it was God who was missing from my life, and kind of was starting to meet with me regularly. We would do some Bible studies, but I wasn't following Jesus and didn't really know who he was until one day I remember clearly in the Walmart parking lot, my friend Steve said to me, I said something about, I just need God in my life. And he said, Mark, Jesus is God. And I went, Still didn't accept him or say yes to his invitation. But anyway, a couple months later, was on vacation by myself in Florida, was driving along a highway outside of Tampa, Florida, feeling sorry for myself. And I started to pray and just said, Lord, I don't really need anything much. Just let me know that you're here with me. And, this is one of those quote unquote weird God stories, but I'm positive I felt a pressure on my right shoulder, which I believe to have been Jesus's hand on my shoulder to let me know he was there. And I said, okay, I'll follow you. And when I got back to town, of course, talked to Steve and Lori, my friends, talked to Pastor Ben, and started my journey.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you were in a Bible study. You were around people who were Jesus followers. You heard the truth that Jesus is God. And even though you knew all those things or heard all those things, that wasn't what actually changed you.
No, it was the personal interaction with Jesus himself that got me over the hump, if you will.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? I mean, as pastors, we hear that a lot. I mean, people assume if they just know the truth, they'll accept Jesus, but it's usually some sort of relational component, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to be there. I mean, otherwise it's not real to them, right? Yeah. Or it wasn't real to me. I mean, it was real, it was true, but I didn't realize it. I didn't know it. So
that was how many years ago?
20, what year is this? 24. That was 26 years ago. It was 1998.
Wow.
February of 1998.
And now you're a pastor at Connection Point.
Now I'm a pastor at Connection Point. Friends will see me and they'll say, the little Jewish boy is a pastor? Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting is, for those of you listening who don't know Mark, it's really awesome that he leads our Maundy Thursday service, which is every year during Holy Week, where he leads us through communion. And always at some point in that process, he either talks about his Judaism or he speaks the Jewish prayer over communion. And it's just so powerful to hear, Mark. It's so powerful to hear you take some of those Jewish roots and now see them through the lens of Jesus.
Yeah. It's part of who I am, so why not share it?
Yeah, that's awesome. So Jesus changed you,
Yep.
but he wasn't done.
Nope.
And frankly, if you're hearing my voice, I promise you he's not done with you either.
Right.
So what is Jesus doing right now? How is Jesus changing your life right now?
Yeah, it's been a fun journey for 26 years, right? And he's done a lot of things over those 26 years. But most recently, I think, let me go back again to my childhood, and it has nothing to do with my Judaism. But I mean, I wasn't a very good athlete. I'm a little guy, but my dad was always very successful in business and was driven that way. And so I kind of inherited that and was always focused on the next thing, right? The next step I could take in a kids club I was in or something like that. Always striving to be the president and the best next
Like
best.
ambitious.
Yeah. Ambition is a great way to say that. So over the years, what that caused me to do is to frequently compare myself with other people. I would say, oh, that was really good. I want to be like that, or, oh, I don't want to be like that. Either way. And I fell into a cycle, I guess, of always comparing myself to other people. And where I know Jesus is changing my life is he's saying, you don't have to do that because I created you the way I needed you and the way I wanted you, and I love you just the way you are. And it's taken 25 of those 26 years probably for me to really hear that from him and really believe it and to really start living it out that way, that I don't have to compare myself to other people anymore.
Dude, that is like the biggest, I think, problem with many people in this country. And I think we're all guilty of being in spots where we want to compare. But really what we're doing, Mark, I think for me, what we're actually the message we're actually sending ourselves is we're not enough.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not enough. And
Yeah.
so I have to compare myself to someone else. And if I'm better than them, then I get to say I'm enough until I find the next person who's better than me. And then I go back to not being enough.
Yeah.
And what does it mean to be surrounded by people who, when we look at comparison wise, we feel like we don't measure up to, but the Lord looks at us and he says, you're enough.
Absolutely. And I think for me, it came to a point where I wanted people to see me, right? I wanted all the recognition. I wanted people to see me. And Jesus is telling me, hey, I see you.
Wow.
You are enough. But
Yeah.
in my words, I see you is what I hear from him. Yeah. And I like you just the way you are.
Yeah. I actually built you that way.
Yeah.
Like I made you this way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Man, I feel like if people could see or could hear Jesus say, I see you, it'd be really hard to deny a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Because that's all we really want, right? Is to be seen and known.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so how does that affect the way you pastor? Like, I mean, in your role here?
Ooh, good question.
Right?
Yeah, thanks for that
You're
one.
welcome.
I think it helps me, especially when I'm in a shepherding mode and I'm meeting with other people from the congregation. It's recognizing that God sees them as well. Jesus sees them, and that I need to see them as he sees them, not as they see themselves, or maybe not as my perception, but just step back and say, okay, the Lord sees them. The Lord is changing them. And wants to continue to change them. And it just helps me, I think, have a conversation with them and hear their story and be able to guide them if that's what they're seeking in a more objective way.
Yeah, because you've been there.
Because I've been there,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So there's, people all over the map potentially listening to your voice right now. And I guess the question I have is like, what advice would you give someone listening who's like, me too? Like comparison is a problem for me.
Sit and listen and talk to Jesus, and tell tell them that's a problem. I mean, my one of the biggest areas for me, and you mentioned we're both pastors and we work together, was when you got here. Is, I like the way he preaches. I want to preach like him. And I failed miserably. And I just asked the Lord, I said, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Just change me. Take it away. Take that comparison trap away from me and help me see something different. And I didn't know what it was until he revealed to me, until he showed me, until he spoke to me, spirit to spirit, that I do see you. And you're created that way because that's the way I need you. And it was just in quiet time, in prayer time, in listening time. I think too often we don't listen enough for the Holy Spirit to speak to us, or we discount it as that's me when it's really God. So that would be my advice: is if you really truly want to change, Jesus will do it, but you have to be open to it. So you have to hear him and listen to him and listen for him,
and acknowledge
that it's his voice.
That it's his voice.
Yeah.
And also acknowledge that you're doing it. Like I'm doing the comparison thing that I'm not supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And acknowledging that sometimes to the Lord is enough, but sometimes we need accountability from others.
Yes.
And it's been an honor to sit with you,
Yeah.
and for you to be able to look at me and say, I'm struggling with comparison, and then watch the Lord work in your life. So just to affirm what you're saying, Mark, I've seen it. Like I've seen you journey even just over the last 3 years together, that looking for a model of how to be and trying to grab onto other people's confidence. I've seen you move from that to I am okay with who I am, and now you have true confidence.
Absolutely. And I didn't even think about, but you're right, the accountability part. I mean, when I was part of a discipleship group or multiple discipleship groups, this conversation would come up time and time again. And those men would hold me accountable. You've held me accountable. So just being able to share that with someone else is a big part of that. Because sometimes it's hard to understand that you've heard from God. You know, it's hard.
Yeah. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you sharing your story. If you're listening and you're hearing something that is resonating with you, I just want you to know that the Lord wants to continue to change you. Jesus is changing people all throughout this community, and he wants to do the same in your life as well. Mark, is there anything else you want to say before you get out of here?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so hey, listen, you may have a story as well of what Jesus is doing in your life and how you were changed through salvation and how you're changing. I'm just going to invite you. We have a form available to you that you can fill out online if you're interested in sharing your story on this podcast, 10 to 15 minute podcast that we can have a short conversation. If you'll go to www.jesusischangingmylife.com, that form is available there. And man, I guess here's what we want our community to know. What we want you all to know is that Jesus does want to continue to work in your life. But if there's someone in your life that you want to share Jesus with, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply just look at them and tell them how Jesus is changing you. And so my encouragement to each and every one of you every week is that you would share with someone this week how Jesus is changing your life. And if the answer is he's not changing my life, would you commit that to prayer and ask Jesus to do a changing work in you immediately, so that you have a story that you can share with the world around you of how Jesus is actively involved in every minute of your life. So we'll see you next time. Have a great week. And remember, God loves you. He wants to move in your life, and Jesus is real. Have a great week.